Welcome back to Junior Peacemakers at Home. Today we are going to be talking about perseverance, which means to never give up and to keep trying. Today we will also be reading a book, and then we will have a super fun game which we hope all of you guys will play and have lots of fun. To start, this book is called Rosie Revere Engineer. I'm going to start reading. This is the story of Rosie Revere, who dreamed of becoming a great engineer. In Leela Greer's classroom at Blue River Creek, young Rosie sat shyly, not daring to speak. And if you see, that's Rosie over there, and everybody else is talking. But when no one saw her, she peeked in the trash for treasures to add to her engineer's stash. And late at night, Rosie rolled up her sleeves and built in her hideaway under the eaves. Alone in the attic, the moon high above, dear Rosie made gadgets and gizmos she loved. And when she grew sleepy, she hid her machines far under the bed where they'd never be seen. Oh, well, would you look at that? The flower teleported. Okay, let's continue. When Rosie was young, she had not been so shy. She worked with her hair, swooping over one eye. She made fine inventions for uncles and aunts, a hot dog dispenser, and helium pants. If you can see over here, those are her uncles and aunts, and that's the pants on the helium pants over there. The uncle she loved most was zookeeper Fred. She made him a hat to keep snakes off his head. From parts of a fan and some cheddar cheese spray, which everyone knew keeps the pythons away. And when it was finished, young Rosie was proud, but Fred slapped his knee and chuckled out loud. He laughed till he wheezed and his eyes filled with tears, all to the horror of Rosie Revere, who stood there embarrassed, perplexed and dismayed. She looked at the cheese hat and then looked away. I love it, Fred hooted. Oh, truly, I do. But Rosie Revere knew that could not be true. She stuck the cheese hat back on the shelf, and after that day, she kept her dreams to herself. And that's how it went until one autumn day where her oldest relation showed up for a stay. Her great-great-aunt Rose was a true dynamo who'd worked building airplanes a long time ago. She told Rosie tales of the things she had done and goals she had checked off her list one by one. She gave a sad smile as she looked to the sky. The only thrill left on my list is to fly. But time never lingers as long as it seems. I'll chalk up that one to an old lady's dreams. That night, as Rosie lay wide-eyed in bed, a daring idea crept into her head. Could she build a gizmo to help her unfly? She looked at the cheese hat and said, no, not I. But questions are tricky, and some hold on tight. And this one kept Rosie awake through the night. So when dawn approached and red streaks lit the sky, young Rosie knew just how to make her unfly. She worked and she worked till the day was half gone. then hauled the cheese copter out onto the lawn to give her invention a test just to see the ridiculous flop it might turn out to be. Okay, this page goes sideways a bit. Strapped into the cockpit, she flipped on the switch. The Hello Cheese copter sputtered and twitched. It floated a moment and whirled round and round, froze for a heartbeat, and crashed to the ground. Then Rosie heard laughter and turned round to see the old woman laughing and slapping her knee. She laughed till she wheezed and her eyes filled with tears, all to the horror of Rosie Revere, who thought, "Oh no, never, not ever again will I try to build something to sputter or spin or build with a lever, a switch, or a gear, and I will never will I be a great engineer." This is the ridiculous flop it turned out to be. She turned round to leave, but then Great-Great-Aunt Rose grabbed hold of young Rosie and pulled her in close. She hugged her and kissed her and started to cry. "Hooray, you did it, hooray, it's the perfect first try. This great flop is over, it's time for the next. Young Rosie was baffled, embarrassed, perplexed. "I failed," said dear Rosie. "It's just made of trash. Didn't you see it? The cheese copter crashed." "Yes," said her great aunt, "it crashed, that is true. But first it did just what it needed to do. Before it crashed, Rosie, before that, it flew." Your brilliant first flop was a raging success. Come on, let's get busy and on to the next. She handed a notebook to Rosie Revere, who smiled at her aunt as it all became clear. Life may have its failures, but this was not it. The only true failure can come if you quit. They worked till the sun sneaked away to its bed. Aunt Rose tied her headscarf around Rosie's head and sent her to sleep with a smile ear to ear to dream the bold dreams of a great engineer. And that's there with her grandma's head, with her great-great-aunt Rose's headscarf. Oh, and also, if you realize this time on the seat it says "we can do it." Way more convincing. At Blue River Creek, all the kids in grade 2 build gizmos and gadgets and doohickeys too. With each perfect failure, they all stand and cheer, but none quite as proudly as Rosie Revere. The end. And over here you can see that's her, and that's her great-great-aunt Rose over there, and she is inside of the plane that she made, the Hello Cheese Copter. Now it's time for the super fun game I was talking about earlier. All you're going to need for this is a box of tissue, specifically one tissue. Kids, I don't think it's a good idea to go take all of your parents' tissue boxes and go crazy pulling out hundreds of tissues out of each one. So just one tissue will do. So how are you going to do this game? It's called tissue balancing, as I like to call it. You're going to put the tissue on top of your head, just like this. Then you're going to try to have to make it to the other side of your space. I'm just using this space, it doesn't matter what space you use, without trying to let this fall. So I'm going to start by just giving like an example. up from the floor and put it back on your head. Keep going. Yay, I did it. When you practice more, you get better at it and you get way faster. Look. See? I hope you enjoyed this program and feel free to share any pictures and videos of your activity in the comments below. Bye!